the other one has a prior appointment. I do know that.
Well, there's 4 of the 8 of, sorry, 4 of the 6 have given us, so it's 4 of the 7 have given us replies, and apologies, but 3 that haven't.
So, this one's mentioning at the next meeting, and I will do. Okay, I'll just put that reminder down for us. Okay. We'll go on now then to declarations of interest. Council to receive any declarations of interest in accordance with the requirements of the Localism Act 2011, and to consider any applications for dispensations in relation to disclosable pecuniary interests or personal interests. Are there any? Well, there's only one thing on the agenda this evening, so if you do think of anything, we'll probably go on to that one. We've got public participation time before that, so if you do think of any, please say before we actually start at number 4 off. Okay? We'll move on now then to public participation time. Members of the public may now speak. You've got 15 minutes. If you require it,
I won't require
you're on your own.
I won't require 15 minutes, thank you.
You're on your own, so we're giving you leeway to speak as much as you want, up to 15 minutes.
Thank you. Right, so as you all know, gentlemen, I'm John Wood. I read through all the pre-meeting paperwork today, and also went down and had a look at the gardens to see what state they're in. I was just curious to see how you're going to and what you're going to do about the gardens with the state that seems to have got themselves in. For whatever reason, I don't know why, whether that's lack of maintenance over years or whatever, or whether this happened quite quickly over a short period. Just one thing I would like to make you aware of, this is something that was in the covenant, the paperwork that was there about that no buildings in the original deeds was that there can be nothing can be built on that land. My brother-in-law is a barrister who specialises in that, in land and what can be built. So just to make you aware that usually covenants, when they pass on through, when it's purchased by, if it was to be sold and somebody wanted to buy it, depending on what the new buyer wanted to do with the plot or with the land or the gardens, he would be beholden to that covenant. It should go through in perpetuity. And what he said is that the courts are very strict on the wording within the original covenant when that passes to a new owner. So just be very aware of that. Now, the other thing as well is that is also, if local people didn't like it and were against anything being built on there, if it went to judicial, the courts would be very strict on the original wording within that covenant. That's really the only thing that I could pick up on if you were thinking of putting land for sale.
Right.
The other thing as well is that then you've got to consider and think, like you put in your report, David, was would anybody be interested in buying it then? But there may be somebody interested. You never know. There may be some philanthropist who, for the benefit of the community, would buy it, make it good. But let's hope that would, if that's what is decided to do with the land, that somebody like that would come along, and that would be wonderful, wouldn't it, for everybody, for the whole community entirely. My personal views are on it is that, as a Farley resident, is that it would be nice if it could be kept for the community, but I also think that it's going to take an awful lot of money to make it right, looking at it today. And highlighting what it said in the report by the drainage engineers, that it's not, it doesn't look like it's stormwater runoff that's causing the problem, it's the water retention within the land on the water table. So therefore, to make it good, I also believe that it would need some kind of piling in it to make it structurally sound over a long period of time. And that's really all I wanted to say, fellas. Thank you for listening.
Right, as for piling, it's piled halfway across on the footpath at the top. You can see the close piles through the tarmac. Right? That is piled there. But, I don't know how long they've been in. I really don't know. You know.
Well, that's it.
You know,
I'm sure that there's going to have to be some kind of investigative work
Yeah.
to make sure, you know, to have a report, full report done on what recommendations are put forward to make it good for a long period of time for the future, really.
Yeah, yeah. And the actual drainage that was put in to try and clear the water has worked, is working, but there could be a natural spring in there somewhere.
Yeah.
So we tried everything to try and find out where it was actually coming from, the water. We even had Yorkshire Water do a test on different things, and they just couldn't find out where it was coming from. That's why we decided to do the actual drainage to see if that would hold it back. So,
well, that can be an unseen.
And up to now, that's cost. Up to now, that's cost.
Over 30,000.
Over 30,000. So.
Also, when I read the report, there was some mention of putting marker pegs in to measure. Was that ever done?
No.
So that was in 2016.
That's right.
So yeah, that's just another thought that went through my head. If I didn't see any pegs either when I went down today, but if there'd been pegs to measure, you'd have probably had a 2-year period now showing you the results, which have been an awful lot better for you at this time, because it would give you the full measure of what's actually happening with the land, wouldn't it, of what to
That's
do with
it,
it.
yeah, yes. But on the first wall down where the pathway, where the seats were, now that has really got worse. It really has.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And to be honest, there was supposed to be some what they call ties to put across the cracks, so that if it did go anymore, you could tell how far it had gone. But there's none there. So whether they did put some in and they've been pulled out or not, I don't know.
I looked through the report and there was no request for anything for that certainly when the drainage was done. And the monitoring of it was outside of the contract. We've had a statement from Scarborough that it was not part of the contract to monitor that at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that fill in a little bit more then?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, they were my ideas
Yeah.
for what they were. A little bit of information, I hope that is
Yes,
will be
that's
valuable
correct,
to
yes.
I'm just curious now to see
I mean, we was in the same position when we was on with the police station. There was a covenant on that for the back, no more than 10 foot high. I remember that plainly. And I'm sorry, I don't know how they got that much big.
Was it ever challenged? It has
Pardon?
to be challenged. It would have to be challenged.
Exactly, I don't know, because it was out of our hands. We was thinking about purchasing it for another better. So, you know.
Unless it's challenged, then, I mean, as we know,
I know they can challenge it, yeah.
you know, unless it's challenged, if people try to override things like that,
Yeah.
as we know, they
Yes.
will.
Yes, they will, I know that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay then.
Alright.
Alright, is there anything else you wish
No,
to
I
say?
just want to listen.
I mean, if while we're discussing it, if you want to think about something, you know, if you think about anything, I will stop the meeting and you can speak,
Thank you.
seeing as though there's only us few here. I'm quite open for that. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay then, we'll go on to number 4, the main reason why we're here tonight. Queen Street Gardens. The council is to consider the situation and discuss the alternatives available to progress with the issues regarding Queen Street Gardens. I hope you have all had a chance to read the report. I will now open the meeting to discussion. This discussion must consider the cost potential or otherwise to all actions and to consider the council's obligations regarding health and safety for the garden in its current and possible state. Right. First of all, I'll kick off if you like. First of all, the actual garden itself, there needs to be some fencing put around it, ASP, because that bit down there, that the gate's shut with a piece of wood, does not correspond with health and safety. So,
yeah, Richard and I viewed the garden this morning when we came, because I said to Richard I have a concern over the health and safety aspect and the security of the garden. I'm not a health and safety expert by any means, but I do have some knowledge, and on the Health and Safety Executive website, the most relevant document was one pertaining to protecting the public. And cutting a long story short, we've got 4 things that we need to do. We need to protect our boundaries, we need to protect adjacent land usage, we need to minimise access, and we need to make measures to exclude unauthorised people. And we have specific responsibilities for the young to make sure that they do not endanger themselves. And we need to question the nature of the actual the site itself, how heavily the area is populated around it, who will need to visit the site during work, will the site attract children, what are the site characteristics, i.e. the location, proximity to other buildings, etc. Typically in populated areas, this will mean a 2-metre high small mesh fence or hoarding around the site. So, as I say, I have taken preemptive action to get this finalised. I have tomorrow afternoon got a meeting with a health and safety consultant who's coming. The actual meeting is a freebie, but I'm going to use it to ask them to give us a specific recommendation with respect to this. But I consider that this, and what they will tell us, is that we need to do that action immediately to get it safe, because at the moment anyone can get into that garden, and the area is not safe for all sorts of reasons. The fencing is in a bad state, it's rotten, it's not there in certain areas. The steps themselves are all over the place on the tripping hazard, etc. Children do get in there. If they were to have any issues whatsoever, I think we could have an issue with that. So that will be what we need. I think we need to do. So from an impact on the residents' point of view, that area is going to have a 6'6" fence around it very soon.
As a building site.
As a building site,
yeah, the Harris fencing.
You know, we have to be seen to be showing due diligence.
Yes.
Still.
Absolutely, Councillor Shannon.
Whether you can stop anybody getting in 100% is debatable.
Well,
But if we can show due diligence and show that we've got the correct procedures in place.
that's correct. Yeah. Councillor Wilkie.
I take all the points about the health and safety and the fencing. If it's needed, it's needed. But how do we? I don't think there's any way that it can be sympathetically done, isn't it? You know, And sometimes you put a fence, I mean, how many people have actually tried to get it? It's not like it's an issue. I'm not saying we shouldn't do anything, but it's not like there's...
I think if you have a look at the area, sorry, Chairman, if you have a look at the area, there is an awful lot of litter in certain areas that appears to have had the use of someone has been in there drinking pop, eating crisps, etc., down there.
Kids will get it.
Yeah.
Oh, they have been going in.
But, I mean, the danger is you put a fence around it, that means right, they'll try and get in.
Well, yeah.
There's always that, isn't there?
But if we
It
don't,
highlights something.
yeah, but if we don't, and an accident happens
I get
there,
that. I just think
that's it. It's us that will come back on.
it's a shame we can't do it a bit more sympathetically at the
Yeah.
top.
Well, Harwich fencing, as you know,
You can see through it.
Harris
You can
Fencing
see
is
through
ugly.
it.
There's no two ways about it.
Well,
It's horrible, it's ugly, I hate it.
it covers a lot. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, that could be there for 10 years.
Of course it could. It depends which way we go on it. Councillor Haxby.
I've got lots to say in the future, but can you explain to me then how Scarborough Borough Council own all of the country park, there's a 300-foot cliff drop, and there's not a beam to say, don't go near here? How do they get away with that when they've had people go over? What, you know, I mean, this health and safety is all very well, but that garden is no more dangerous than a 150-foot cliff there and a 200-foot cliff there. You know, and that's all land owned by Scarborough Borough Council. Why should we have to spend thousands doing that when they've got miles of cliff that dogs have gone over, people have gone over? There was a funeral today of a kid that went over locally. You know, it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Yes. Councillor Wilkie.
I think in the past you've seen the signs, beware dangerous cliffs, but they're now down on the beach, aren't they? But, you know, is that something we could explore rather than...
As I say, in anticipation of what was coming to this meeting, I have got somebody in, and if their professional recommendation is signage, and they're willing to report that it's signage, then that's fine. I would suspect that it won't be just signage, it will be the need to stop people from, attempt to stop people from getting in there.
Could you, David, just for me, point out the 7 miles of cliff line between here and Scarborough?
As Kevin said, there has been signage up there to say dangerous cliffs. That's not our responsibility, that's Scarborough's responsibility.
But they're a major authority compared with us. If they can get away with it, why can't we?
It could be as simple as signs.
It could be as simple.
And that would be my preference, rather than Harris Fencing.
Right. Councillor Shackleton.
One thing about cliffs are that people, basically, the majority of people are aware that there is a danger at cliff edges. We're certainly not aware of any of our dangers while we're walking around a garden that we own.
No.
That is the difference.
Councillor Thurston, do you want to?
No, I want to say it.
Right.
Should be fenced in, I think.
Clark?
And I think the other thing we need to be aware of is, as a group, we are aware of the issues in that garden.
Yeah.
Right? We are aware that potentially there could be slippage. We are aware that the paths, etc., are falling to pieces. We are aware that the handrails, fences are rotting and have gone from various areas. So we are aware of that. Therefore, if any issues do occur, and we're aware of that, it makes us look even worse, to be quite honest.
I mean, all well and good, and you know, you take advice from the HSC tomorrow and see what they say about it. But I'm particularly with Councillor Wilkie, and you know,
Well, yeah.
we don't want to see this Harris Fencing really, and as Kevin rightly said, what about some warning notices?
Right.
They'll be there for as long as people are
That's right, yeah.
I think we put up a recollection from speaking to the Deputy Clerk we've put up maybe a dozen different notices up there in the last few years, of which have been taken,
Yeah, but
been removed.
not properly erected.
But they're not properly erected, they're not.
Only on a piece of A4.
Yeah.
But as I said, I've anticipated issues, and I'm not an expert, but I think we should get some expertise to give us their recommendations as to what we should be doing.
Councillor Haxley.
Yeah, I don't think anybody recalls that when the steps at the south side of Filey Bridge started collapsing, Scarborough Council shut them off with a bit of a fence at the top, which was just 2 rails and 2 posts, saying dangerous steps, don't go down. Which over the years disappeared, and now anybody can use them.
That's right.
But that was an issue at the time, and people just ignored it, and they've got away with it. I just can't sort of
I know it gets in my throat, does that?
get my head around how one gets away with it and one has to spend a fortune trying to sort it out.
Yeah. Councillor Wilkie.
I'm not opposed to something down at the bottom, on the steps down to the beach where the hedging is. That needs blocking off completely, because that's just got a lump of wood across it.
That's the one with the wood.
So to me, that's not an issue. It's the stuff at the top that's not the issue.
And there's one at the top, halfway across the top, that's got a piece of wood across it as well. A gate.
All 3 gates are just related with the activity.
What I'm saying is at the bottom, it doesn't matter that there's a 6-foot fence, was it, 6 foot, whatever it is.
Well, there's a big edge there anyway,
Yeah.
Kevin, so...
That gate at the bottom is easy to get over, but at the
Yeah.
top, where most of the people are going to think of getting in.
Councillor
I'm
Shepherd.
just wondering, will it be seen at the top?
What?
Down the side of the steps? Because obviously we can't put it on Queen Street.
No, we put it on the edges, it would, looking at the regulations, if we could put it up, it would go along the edge of Cliff Walk.
So we'd have to get permission from council to do that then?
No, it would be on our land. Our land is on where the actual railings are currently. That's our land, and they're our railings.
I wasn't aware of that. I thought that was counties.
But it comes onto footpath, then that is not the option.
Well, if we can find a way that covers us enough to avoid having Harris Mason at the top, because I mean it's ridiculous that. Not knowing when there's a point where it could be taken down, or something more permanent, or
That's right.
that's more pleasing to the eye.
Do you think if we make a decision on going on what the health and safety guy that's coming tomorrow has to say about it? What do you think? To move things on, because we can talk about that with this all night.
Well, it's a pity this meeting's taking place prior to that.
Yeah. We'll have to see what he says tomorrow.
I know it is, John, but
I mean, you have to take on board his advice.
of course you have. Of course you have.
Look, I agree, it's got to be safe, and we've got to, like I say, do due diligence. But having a 6-foot high fence, whatever it is, whether it's permanent or nice looking, I mean, that's just going to ruin that area, isn't it? See what it says tomorrow.
Right. So if we leave that until we find out what the health and safety guy has to say about that, we can actually put it on that special meeting.
I was just going to say, the clerk's report on the...
I can put it on to,
Yes.
I can give you that big prize next week's meeting.
Next week, yes, on that one. And then we've got it then, haven't we? Then we can actually, it might be some more councillors there.
I mean, whatever we decide to do this evening, whether to keep the land and maintain it or sell it, we still need to make it safe in the right.
Exactly,
Absolutely.
exactly.
And the cost will only be the one of a time constraint, because these things you normally hire, have them installed, and then that you pay over a period of time for the hire of the...
Yeah, it goes month by month, the hire on it, what I've seen on internet this afternoon anyway. So, Councillor Haxley.
I mean, I'll say it again, we've got 7 miles of sea that hasn't got a sign saying don't go in the sea because you can drown. We've got 7 miles of cliff that way, we've got 13 miles of cliff that way. There isn't one sign at the top now that says don't go near here, because they've all fallen over. You've got a cliff fell down at Robin Hood's Bay,
Yeah,
where a young child was killed, and all the borough did was put a sign up saying dangerous cliff. They didn't have to fence them off.
no.
You know, I'd be happy if you put a temporary fence up, planted some brambles or whatever you want to plant that grows 6 foot, just to stop people climbing through. And have a nice hedge.
Yeah.
Is that possible?
That's going to take
Yeah, you've got temporary fence until,
Oh, yeah.
Until they grow up, that's if we're keeping it, yeah.
you know, I don't know, I just,
Could be long term.
All we have to make our mind up on that, yes.
All I would say is, Councillor Axley, is that from my experience, what you're saying is absolutely right in terms of actuality. But when you're standing in court, having to, you know, explain your actions where something has happened because we haven't done something, then it's the best thing is to comply with the
a
regulations.
child killed below a cliff fall. And what happened about that?
Don't know whether that's still ongoing, I don't know.
You know, that's,
Yes.
Just,
Yeah, just a minute. I've just got to read this bit out and then you can, yeah. At this point, I'll move standing order 3E and adjourn the meeting to allow said gentleman to speak in relation to the item of business. Right.
just listening to what Councillor Haxby's saying, I think the main thing, John, is that you have to protect yourself against litigation. I think that's the biggest issue that David's trying to get across more than anything. Can the council afford, if something does go wrong, to be sued?
I don't know, I just want parity between everyone.
I totally understand what you're saying, John, and
If that's the case, we have to spend 50,000
yeah.
fencing it, so be it. But why do we have to pay it and a higher authority not?
I know.
That's all I'm asking, David.
I totally get what you're saying, and it goes against the grain, doesn't it?
Well,
But that's the situation.
We have to try and
Unfortunately,
protect
you are in.
ourselves as well.
Well, firstly, I think we care a lot more than a larger authority. We care about our residents, yeah. But, you know, you could put a 20-foot high fence up and people will still get in. But at least we've shown that we've attempted to keep them out and warn them that, you know, there's danger there.
If it's there, it goes a long way. If anything happens, it goes a long way. If it has to go to court, it goes a long way saying that there's something there to stop them. It really does.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
I get where John's coming from on this.
Oh, I know, that's right. I will now end the adjournment, not the adjournment. Germans, yes. And only members of the council may speak. That was a slip of the tongue. Councillor
I mean, we could go on making comparisons.
of course we can, all right.
It's right, it's just what's being said is whether those comparisons stand up in a court if we were so fortunate to get to that point. You know, you could say about all the railings on the seafront, you know, yes, members of the public are well aware there's a risk of going over there and would not, well, there are one or two instances that way, but if there was clear instruction not to go in there, you know, members of the public can make their own mind up of what the danger is. So whether that's a fair comparison or not, I don't know, but the health and safety of
We just need to have special advice that we need to take on board.
Yes, definitely.
which you can do about tomorrow, can't we?
Yeah. Which this can come back on the special meeting next week.
And I think we need to ask
And only that.
Mr. Clark, whether just warning notices
Yeah.
before we go any further.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I'm all
I mean, permanent signs we're talking about, that one, more permanent.
I mean, this isn't a new problem, Kevin.
No.
You know, it's been going on for over 20 years. For it to come to a sticky patch now where we've got to take action.
Yeah,
You know, I remember when Pam Dobson was Clark, she trying to sort
She
all
did.
this out.
yeah.
We've never had anything up there before saying uneven steps, beware, it was trip hazard, or anything like that. We've never had anything like that. I know that's
No.
been years gone by and things change, so.
These are the steps inside the
Yes,
actual
yeah.
garden themselves, not the
Yeah.
ones going
No,
down
that's
the
what I'm
side
talking
of the
about.
garden. Yeah, they aren't ours, they're
No.
North Yorkshire.
No, but they've always been tricky to get up and down, haven't they?
Oh, yeah,
Even for
Yeah.
such a thing.
definitely,
But let's see what the guy says to us.
yeah.
Take it from there.
I mean, the gardens weren't really well used, were they?
No, no.
Okay, so if we moving on, we can leave that and make a decision on that next
Once we
week.
get a report.
Once we've got the report from the health and,
Okay.
Yeah, but Chair, I don't want to sit through next week's
You're
meeting
not going
and
to
go
do
through all this
all this
again.
again.
For members that couldn't be,
No.
no, you won't do.
they'll turn up, we'll discuss that.
That's it. It's not going through the whole process,
No.
it's just the health and safety on that
Because I
there.
think all members
And that's
get
all that's going on.
absolutely fed up of going round in circles.
I know we are.
Because other members don't turn up, won't they?
Yeah, and then you have to explain to them later on what's happened. Councillor Hatsby,
Just to move progress, I think we're all agreed that something needs to be done
that's correct.
to make the site safe for the general public, in certainly the short term, if not the long term. And we're going to agree that once David's met the health and safety man tomorrow. So I think the main crux of the argument tonight is what we're going to do in the long term,
Yeah.
once we've made it safe.
Exactly.
And if we could discuss that, Mr Chairman, I'd be...
And that's what we're coming on to next.
Thank you.
Okay. I just thought we'd open that, do that that one first. It isn't it? It's a big thing. But we thought we could get that out of the way first and then we can concentrate on what we're going to actually do with the gardens themselves. Right, we'll go on to the gardens now. Who wants to speak first on that? Councillor Hatsby first then, and then Councillor Shackleton.
Perhaps if I could put my 10 pence in, if I could certainly go first to option 4, which is retain and open to the public. I think there's already been alluded to tonight. The steps and everything else are totally inadequate for modern legislation. They are dangerous.
There.
And the whole garden, I think, would need remodelling to certainly make the steps up to modern day standards, which in itself would cost a small fortune.
Definitely.
So my personal opinion is that option 4 is a non-starter. If I can go to option 2, which is...
Just could I ask for a resolution on that, so just...
No, I'm just giving my opinion to start with, because everybody else might...
Okay.
Yeah,
Disagree with them,
yeah,
I
and then
disagree
we
with them.
come back and have a resolution on that when we come back to...
I mean, option 2, sale of part of the site, I think again is a non-starter. I don't think you can split that site into any logical pieces. Because if you sell the bottom half, the top half's still got a problem. If you sell the top, your bottom half might have a problem. East, west, it becomes very difficult. So I think option 2 might well be a non-starter. So in my mind, the only options are to sell the site,
The whole site.
yeah, or to retain it and do not open to the public. Now again, I'm open. Once you've made it safe, and it is not open to the public, then you can retain it in the short term, I think, but it's still a millstone around the council's neck.
Definitely.
So, I mean, I'm going to option 1, which is selling the site, but would anybody be interested? Even if we gave it away, we're not losing anything. We're gaining a lot if we gave it away, because it's saving us quite an amount of money. And there may be some, as have already been mentioned, groups, persons that are quite happy to set it aside as a wildlife area. Whatever, it doesn't matter. At least it's off our back. So I'm swayed to option 1, which is selling the site, if it even means giving it away. As I say, we can't lose. And there may well be And it's just this covenant now, if you look at DD, you know, I mean, what the hell blocks the view from the top path more than DD? And I think there was a covenant on the original site on there, but I stand to be corrected. And covenants to Scarborough Council seem to mean nothing. You know, they seem to, and as you say, unless there is an objection to it, you know, the Futurist had covenants on it. There was supposed to be a burial site at the back, etc., which seemed to get lost in the mists of debate. So you've got DD, you've got covenants on all sorts. The police station.
That was the beauty.
A, there was a height covenant, and B, there was a covenant that there shouldn't be houses built within, was it 50 feet?
That was right.
At the back of the property. Well,
Yeah.
what's being built now? A row of terraces within 50 feet. So, you know, they don't, covenants are a mute point. So that's my 10 pence. I think I'd go for option 1.
Councillor Shackleton.
Yeah, I've said in this chamber before, Chair, that I'm really against selling council assets. Mainly because once you've sold them, you have a little bit of money, but that asset disappears out of your control. But there is a time when assets become a burden, and I think Queen Street Garden is quickly becoming a financial, or could become a real financial burden on this council. So, in part, I'm in agreement with Councillor Haxby that this site should be sold. Now, it's been mentioned about a buyer. Well, do we need a buyer? Do we need to sell that as a piece of land? If you could raise that covenant and let the council build a £600,000-700,000 house there on stilts and sell that house. Surely that's better than getting 30,000 for that piece of land. Or, you know, that's just a figure out of that. Yeah. But that's an option that this council could look at.
Okay. Yeah.
And that would be a great capital receipt, wouldn't it, if we could.
Well, it would, definitely. Councillor Thurston.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards option 1 as well. I mean, option 3 would be lovely, but the cost of it would just be incredible. So I think we've got to go towards option 1. Yeah.
Well, we've spent thousands already, Councillor Thurston.
Yeah.
You know,
We're 50 grand with
I don't think we're nowhere near the amount that could possibly should be, you know, be spent on the house.
Could I just, this has been stated before, but the current estimates that we have for simply doing a survey on the land to assess its current status, as per the previous survey, because we don't know what effect the drainage has had on the area, would cost us over £6,000. And the estimate for making certainly the top 2 tiers of the garden safe, which will probably require piling of some sort, the minimum cost for that will be somewhere between £25,000 and £35,000 to do that.
So there's
And that's just to make the land safe, so it's not going to fall down the cliff.
Is that figure to keep the footages, the terraces?
That's basically to keep the terraces there, but to keep the terraces in terms of being safe, so they aren't going to slide down the hill.
It would be cheaper to remove those terraces.
It would.
And just
It could be, but we don't. It depends. You need to know what the first. You need to spend the first £6-7 grand to establish what the situation is, and then come up with some form of plan as to what you do after that. But until you have that plan, and until you know, and then pay for an exercise in terms of architecture of what you're going to do with the land, you don't really know how much it's going to cost.
Unfortunately, historically, we've paid for one bit doing, and that's highlighted another bit that needs doing, and another bit, and another bit.
Yeah.
It goes on and on.
It does. It's like a bouncing ball, isn't it? Yes. Councillor Wilkie.
I would agree with Councillor Haxby in terms of option 4 is a non-starter, not very good.
Yeah, definitely.
Option 2, again, fraught with complications, legal issues, and all sorts of things. So again, I think that's a non-starter. So I think we're left with 1 and 3, aren't we? Which I thought we would end up with. No?
Yeah.
The figures you've just been talking about there, David.
Yes.
In either case, would we have to still make those 2 top tiers?
No. If we were to sell, we would sell it as is.
But what if that takes 2 years?
No. Depending
We
which way you
would
sell them.
then put in a monitor that says, look, you know, we've put some time on cracks or whatever, monitor it on a monthly basis to make sure it's not moving or whatever. But if it did start to move, then we'd have to move pretty quickly to make sure that it's safe.
So, with other things that have come by this council in terms of unknown costs, my view was always stay away and we shouldn't get involved. So I am edging towards selling the land, and I think if we did go down that route, then I think we'd get next to nothing for it, because it would take so much money to, if somebody did want to build on it, it would take them so much money to make that ground right for a property. They're not going to pay hundreds of thousands of pounds for the land. An interesting idea that you have to Councillor Shackleton as well.
They're going to have a very special house on a very special plot, aren't they?
Absolutely. Now, we talked about the covenant earlier. I think you mentioned the one at the police station. When I went to the planning at Scarborough Council, that was brought up about the covenant, and the planning committee have no jurisdiction to deal with covenants at all. It's not their concern. It's not their concern, it's a legal matter. So that is why it was never brought into, it's not up to them to consider any covenants that are in place. But it is a legal matter that has been pointed out.
Yeah, you're right there, Kevin. It's up to whoever buys it or it's given to. Once they own it, it's up to them to...
It was down to the person who bought the land to follow that through and find out. Now, the owner of that land didn't bother with that, so therefore nothing's happened. But whether it could come back and bite him, I don't know.
Well, that's up to them.
It didn't go down the route that has been suggested before in terms of judicial review and things like that.
Yeah.
Which that might be a bit more likely to have, with it being such a prominent piece of land. I mean, I would love it to be open and left as it is.
Yeah.
So I'm still a bit towards that, but I do understand it could be an unknown quantity of money to keep it. Quite easily, it could pay £100,000, £200,000
Definitely.
in the not too distant future just to keep it to a level.
Yeah.
You know, for that reason, I'm more towards selling it or looking to sell it than I am to keep it.
Right, thank you for that, Councillor. Okay, Councillor Haxby.
I understand where my little learned friend's coming from with regard to building and selling it. But I think the cost of initial surveys, stabilising the land, selling it for a small profit, it is more likely, as has been said, somebody with lots of money will come along and think, what a lovely plot, I'll throw loads of money at it and build myself a house. I think that's the more likely. I don't think we can afford it, to be honest, to do it that way. And if you advertise it free, they will save you a load of money anyway. Not that we have to do. And the chances are somebody will develop it or make it safe. But covenants, I mean, if you look at the Groveville estate, there were 2 covenants on that when we bought our house. One was that all front gardens should be open plan,
That's correct, yes, John.
and the second one was there should be no single oil storage tanks
That's right.
within the premises,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
every house was fed by a communal oil storage tank at the top of the site, which is where Big Barrier is now.
That's right.
The original builders that insisted on those covenants disappeared and went closed and no longer exist. So I don't think there's anybody to fight those covenants. So every house now is building walls and fences and oil tanks and... So, you know, the idea of covenants is, and it could be that whoever put the original covenant on no longer exists. And I'm not sure about the legalities, but as I understand it, if there's nobody there you can tie it to, well then it can't be challenged. I don't know. I say I stand to be corrected.
So
But
that's what we looked into.
my opinion is that if you sell the land cheap enough, there is somebody out there that will come along prepared to spend the amount of money that it takes to build a nice property in there. If you're going to develop it yourself, I have a feeling that the cost of the initial surveys, of the piling and everything else is going to negate any profit you're ever going to make on that site. But, you know, I don't know.
Right, Frank?
Just to bring to the council's understanding is that the current land is on the asset register at a value of £1. So in terms of work, in terms of an asset from that point of view, it is only there for £1. On the other aspect, and just to give some tying in between John, Mr. Councillor Shackleton and Councillor Haxby is, if we're going to go down the route of developing that area, I think we're going down the route of unknown costs again. Where you start to say, yeah, if we're going to develop it, we've done this, then we need to do that, then we need to do that, then we need to do that, then we need to do that. And suddenly the grand design issues happen where it's a budget set of £500,000 and it's suddenly £1 million and we can only sell the house for 750.
That's the risk that developers
That's the
take.
risk of developers take. I think we need to be mindful of that.
Councillor Wilkie?
I think another issue with looking, I mean, if you've got a flat piece of land somewhere that you want to develop, that's fine, I think, as a council, but I think our reputation will be in tatters if we decided to develop that. But I do agree that I think the cost will be just uncontrollable. The other major issue that I do have is if we go down the route of trying to sell it and somebody does want to develop that, Scarborough Borough Council will not care about any of our wishes about the height of it, loss of this, loss of that. They will just let somebody put on there. There's a potential, should I say, for us ending up with something that we can't control. They've shown it time and time again about massive buildings, height, this, that and the other. It's just what Piley needs, it's just this, it's just that. Look at Waldale, look at the police station. Two prime examples. And I would not want that to happen down there if it went that way.
On the subject of covenants, it's not impossible for us to put a covenant
In ourselves.
to say that if there were any buildings on there, that they weren't, that the skyline wasn't above a certain height above sea level. And what Councillor Walker and myself saw this morning, if you're actually standing on Fisherman's Outlook, whatever they call it, and you look out, the houses at the moment that are there do not spoil the view at all. And if a building was actually built up to the height of the railings that are on the first tier, it actually would not have any effect upon the view whatsoever from Fisherman's Outlook.
I would want it lower than that, I would want it under that level.
Yeah, well, what I can say is at that level there would be no effect upon the view whatsoever.
No.
And I would suggest that anybody who would like to have a look at that in the time, because we found this one that was quite enlightening, that the fact that because the garden is so steep, you're actually, you know, the drop is quite immediate. And if you look at the house that's built to the left, that does not in any way, shape or form spoil the view at all. It's at a level that you're looking way over the top of that.
Well, that's shown on the photograph.
And if you look at the photograph, the second photograph in the file, that actually shows that.
Councillor Haxton.
Just on what David's saying, I think if you go into Scarborough and see the road, and that house that's for sale for about 3 million on the left wing, if they actually built that back into the banking, which I think they'd have to do, if they're piling the site, use the back pilings as the back of your house. You're actually going back into the site anyway. You know, anybody worth the salt will use that as part of the foundation for the house. And I think it would fit in nicely. But it's up to them, isn't it? I mean, all you're doing is selling the site.
All you're doing is selling the site, but as I say, we do have the opportunity, if we feel it relevant, to put the covenant on there to maintain the view.
Sorry, through your chair. Could we specify the type of structure that could be on there? I.e., chalet style singles, or can't you do that? You can't.
Well,
You
you can, but you might chase away a prospective buyer by putting too many restrictions on.
But they're not going to fit a two-storey house on there, are they, or anything like that? Sure they're not.
Through the chair, so as Councillor Askew says, if you dug that away, you dug the side of the cliff away, you could easily get a two-storey. Next door is a two-storey house, in virtually exactly the same condition, but it only looks a one-storey house in the back.
Yeah, and the garden wall on the actual footpath we've got one hell of a bow in it now, so that looks to me as though that's going to go before long. But that's nothing to do with us, that's them. But if that goes, it could actually take the rest of the bank down a bit as well.
We're just trying to see if we can get a little bit of control.
I think if we go down,
as well as not making it, not making it unviable.
If we go down the route, I think of the option one to sell, then I think we have the option to at least discuss with the potential purchaser a viable set of parameters that they could build with.
Well, if you put a covenant on it, that's what
yeah.
could happen.
Yeah, I mean, we don't, like Councillor Chapter said, put people off.
No.
But we don't want to give them,
No.
allow free reign.
We equally don't want to build a 10-storey block of flats there.
No.
But
Yeah. You know they come.
You don't want to give someone a blank cheque, do you?
no, you don't want someone to come along and say, well, wouldn't this be wonderful if we built, a 5-storey block of apartments that would have wonderful views, etc. of the area.
I think all that type of discussion is
I just thought I'd throw it in the mix now.
So really tonight, what we're here for tonight is to decide what we're actually going to do with the land itself. Right, and 1, 2, 3, 4 people's gone to option 1.
What are your thoughts, Jeremy?
My thoughts are option 1, to be honest. I've seen that, and I can't see any reason why that somebody could not put at least a decent bungalow on there.
Something sympathetic.
Which is sympathetic with the actual view from the fishermen's thing. And then, if anything did happen on there, i.e. while it's still in sale or anything like that, once it's sold, there's no come back on the town council at all on that. Once it's sold, or given away, if they want to say that, but I don't go along with giving it away.
It's up to the
District
prospective buyer anyway.
It's up to
sounds like.
the, exactly.
You know,
Kevin?
Got a survey done.
Yeah.
So
Kevin?
if we decide to go down the route of sale, we've got the covenant to think about, haven't we?
We can do, yeah, but that will cost so much, obviously.
What about a time scale? I mean, do we just offer it for sale indefinitely, or do we say let's try it for 12 months? What's the feeling?
What, for the covenant?
No, for offering. I mean, we might not get anybody that wants it. We're 12 months down the line, so then what we're going to do? Do we have to revisit it? You know, how do we?
Well, if we
revisit it and decide something else?
If we do vote on this tonight, which we really should do, so we get things moving, you won't be able to rescind that minute for at least 5 months, 6 months. So, and once 6 months is over, you can and it's still there, you can actually, the council then, at that time, can actually rescind that minute and revisit it.
I think we need a mechanism to revisit it if nothing's happening with it.
So that's what I'm saying, they can rescind that minute, and then, like the toilets, see, similar thing to that.
Yeah, with that site and that view,
It's gorgeous.
I would imagine there'll be quite a lot of interest from developers and
Oh
people
yes,
for
oh
option
definitely,
there.
oh definitely.
But at the end of the day, there's only one buyer.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
oh yes. Yes, I mean, you've got 2 options, haven't you? You can, well, 3 options really. You can put it up for auction, which comes quicker than going through an estate agent. Oh, because once the hammer goes down, that's it. All your responsibilities are taken off you.
Is it the district valuer that we need to?
we would have to contact the district value, but
Yeah.
the information I've received, because it's on the asset for a pound,
Mm.
that there is effectively, we're not in any way, shape or form trying to make any, great monies out of it. I would just like to reiterate that what the chair said in terms of the way that we could sell it, in terms of getting to a point in time, is to have a definite either auction date or sealed bid date, which means that you know at that point in time how much it is, and depending upon how it's marketed, there can be an indication within the marketing how much we will be willing to accept.
A reserve, if you
A
like.
reserve. A reserve on, but if we were to, and I would suggest we would market it through, through an estate agent or whatever, and they would be able to advise the purchaser of what they can and can't do, but with a date at the end that says, there is an auction or a sealed bid that's got to be put by this particular date.
Yeah.
So,
And if you put a reserve on it, it's then up to you to accept that, whatever it got up to on that reserve, or not there. The option will actually ring you up and say, it hasn't made this reserve, but it got to so and so. And then it's left to us whether to accept it or not.
So just to be clear, option 3 is retain but do not govern specifically. So that would mean some sort of fencing or stopping people going in. At least 35-40 grand initially.
yes.
Initially, with unknown costs after that. Obviously, we need to monitor it, wouldn't we, on an ongoing basis, surveys,
Yeah.
whatever you need with that.
Yeah. Okay, if you retain the land, Kevin, there's ongoing costs.
Absolutely, yeah, a little bit. So the main risk is that we end up being liable for whatever happens.
The sky's
That's
the
the
limit.
risk to the council, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just important, I think, to be clear about what we do.
Yeah.
So I think it's important, Kevin, to put in context as to and rightly what Councillor Shackleton said, this is a very important meeting in terms of the finances of Farley Town Council.
Yeah.
It is critical that a decision is made that we consider to be right and proper, because whatever decision, potential decision could be made that could cost us hundreds of thousands of pounds.
Well, cost the public.
Cost the public hundreds of thousands of pounds.
And this is what we've been saying all along, is it's public money that you're spending. We've got to be careful of what you're spending on and how. But on this one, this one will actually save money in the long run. If we do it that way.
It'll return some of the money we've spent.
Well, yes. I can't see it returning it all like, who knows? Who knows? You don't know.
We might get a pleasant surprise on it.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen a toilet block go on auction for nearly 80,000. A toilet block.
So, for me, it's such a prime site, isn't it?
It is.
It's part of Filey, so it's head versus heart, you know, and this is where I'm sort of wrangling still. Is there a way to keep it open but not let the public in? But my head says it's just going to cost so much money. The potential is
You see, you've got
hundreds of thousands of pounds over. Because you're talking long term, aren't you? You're not talking 5 years. You're talking 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years.
You see, you've also got maintenance on it, Kevin.
Yeah,
when
I get that.
you know, i.e. gardener and all that way, you know.
But in the terms of that's peanuts in the terms of what we could have to spend in terms of remedial work, making it safe.
But if anything happened while he was in there,
Oh, absolutely.
it wouldn't be peanuts then. This is all.
Well, if that's a risk, we should stop him going in there.
Well, it's not going in.
Well, he's not going to do it. If the decision is to sell it, he's not going in.
I thought we stopped that business, yeah.
No, we're still doing it.
He's still doing it, you see.
It's still basically more the grass and just keep things tidy.
That's all.
That's all.
That's all.
yeah.
No replanting these.
No replanting, nothing. It's just keeping it tidy.
And is he covered under his own PI?
He's covered under his own PI, but there are question marks that we need to I think we need to revisit his risk assessment on the area to ensure that he is making sufficient safe working practices to be done.
Yeah, absolutely. Both things about capital.
Yes, that's there on the list to do. So,
Councillor Hackstead.
I'll say this
Yes,
on
I know,
camera.
I've been watching it.
What sticks in my craw is that you had the landslip at Whitby's below the Abbey, below the church. You had the landslip road to Sands End. You've got the problems behind the Futurist, and you've got the problems behind the Spa. Who's paying for those? Scarborough Council hasn't helped us one iota in this. All they've done is charged us to employ their specialists to give us advice, which, in my opinion, has been next to worthless, to be honest. They've not given us one hand, one help, one bit of advice, free, yet they've done all this work up at Whitby and in Scarborough for nothing. Now, that really does stick in my craw, so I don't think we can come under any criticism whatsoever if we look at this critically and say, right, we can't afford it, let's get rid of it. Well, the money we save can potentially go into firing, bloom, you name it, we can go into lots of environmental projects and people that need the money in that respect. So you lose a garden there, but you develop gardens elsewhere. You develop gardens we've already got to a better standard. You know, we're not, and as has been said right at the beginning, do locals really ever use that garden?
The garden itself?
I think the answer is very few. They may appreciate it, and they like it being there, but whether they actually take advantage and use the garden is a moot point.
It's the view at the top, isn't it, John?
And I think if you developed other areas for them, and, you know, made other areas nice. And then I think that in the long term they'd appreciate it, and they'd appreciate the money we're saving. Because it's them that's paying.
Of course it is.
You know, we're having to tax it through the precept. Whichever way you look at it,
Yeah.
they're having to pay for it.
Yeah.
As we saw at the budget meeting last week, we're already committing quite a lot of money to things like dog wardens and cobbles and things like that, you know, we can only go so far.
Yeah.
So I would go option one, but first make sure it's safe. Whatever the guy says tomorrow, I think we're going to have to take his advice and do that, whatever, and then put the sign on the market.
Right, so we've had a go, Kevin, do you want to say
Yes,
anything?
one more quick point. In terms of, is there any funding, grants, European money, anything like that we could apply for to pay for those works to make it safe, so we could keep it open? Or is that just because it's such an unknown?
It's an unknown.
And such
I'm not aware of anything at this moment in time.
No, there was one that came up at YLCA on Saturday, a grant, but it was for a new build, so that is a new build.
It's just, you know, what Councillor Axby said there, you know, where the borough getting funds from, they must be getting funds from somewhere. They can't have all this money in the bank.
Well, they are paying electric bill, they are paying.
Can I just come and answer one of Kevin's things? In the press the other day, for the last 20 years, Scarborough Council spent nothing on the Italian gardens, the South Cliff gardens, and all the memorials and shelters and everything else there is there. They've let them go to rack and ruin, and suddenly they get a 5 million heritage lottery grant to redevelop it. So I think the answer is to let everything fall down and get a heritage lottery grant, and they'll give you 5 million to rebuild it. Well, where's that come from? How the hell they give money like that away? I do not know.
But there's you mentioned the land slips at Whitby and things like that. That's just happened, hasn't it? Out of the blue. So where are they getting money from to make that right?
I don't know unless they've got some kind of type of insurance.
The problem is, Kevin, the borough will not give us help on it.
No.
They will not give us officer time
It's our land.
to sort it out.
Exactly.
I'm just trying to explore every option, because my heart still wants it to keep as it is and stay as it is, but not be open to the public. But of course then there has to be a fence around it that makes people not go in, and all this thing. We have to be covered in case somebody does get in and something happens.
Exactly.
But you know, would the fence and you know, danger signage be enough? If someone got in, well, we'd put the signs up and the fence up, so you're on your own sort of thing.
Haven't been done properly, Kevin.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's good. That's what signage is there for, to stop you. You know, you go into any supermarket and there's a spill, it's a wet floor sign. You know, it's warning you of a danger.
Yeah.
That's what they're there for.
That's right. But once anything starts happening in there, it goes into like a building site then, doesn't it? Sort of. And it'd go under health and safety under the same type of thing as that. You know. So, and they are very strict on it. They really are.
Yeah. The also thing we want to do is leave ourselves exposed to risk when we know that there's an issue.
No. So I think we've been round it quite a bit, haven't we? We've kicked it here, we've kicked it there, and I think there will be a decision made now.
Yeah, I think we've got it.
We've got a proposal.
So Councillor Haxby, do you want to come back with your?
I would propose that, in line with what the health and safety executive person says tomorrow, we'll make the site safe in the short term, and in the long term look at marketing the site for sale to an external agency, person, authority, however you want to word it.
So have you got that?
We'll get district value.
Right. What's the minute? You haven't got his secretary with him tonight, you
Option
see.
one.
I was lost without an
Yeah,
intent.
I know.
I know.
I mean, the thing is, keeping the site and not opening it to the public is
It-
tantamount to
it-
getting rid of it anyway.
Yeah.
You're not doing
It's-
anything.
No, but
All you're doing is keeping the view at the top.
you're
That's all
retaining
you're
it
doing.
as it
And if we can do that, maybe put a,
I think we have enough safeguards
Yeah.
in place we can stop that.
add in about a couple of months as well on that one if we do. And then read it back to us so we know what we're doing. Please.
See, after 5 or 6 months when we look at it again,
You,
there'll be
you,
different people.
you can do, Kevin, you can do. Whoever's on council then can actually propose that they revisit that minute, right? But before they do anything else, they have to rescind the minute. Before they even start talking about it, they have to rescind the minute, and then they can carry on. And this is what I was trying to get over to them. Like, you know. So. You don't have to pay.
No, I'm just trying to keep going on one side. Right, look, John, that we make the site safe in the short term as per the recommendation of the HSE person report. Then action the sale of the site with covenants to be added to maintain the current environment, and the sale to be considered by auction or sealed bid.
We can do a single bid through estate agent anyway,
Do
can't we?
you need to put on there that we're having we want like a retention,
Pardon?
a figure that will, I can't remember what we've got.
A reserve.
A reserve.
A reserve?
You need to
I don't know, I think if you put reserves on it,
It depends
I
on...
think that could be brought up at another meeting to be quite honest.
Yeah.
If we get sort of estate agents involved and they say, look, this is what we consider the land to be worth, we then may want to make a decision in terms of saying, right, we won't sell it unless it's this amount of money.
If you go into auction, like, you know...
You can't do a reserve.
The reserve is essential.
Absolutely auction.
but at the end of the day, if we sold it for £1, which is what it's worth on the asset register, what are we losing? We're actually gaining, not spending £1,200 a year on it. We need 30,000 to initially stabilise it, and any other bill that might come on in the future to stabilise it. That's what we're saving. So yeah, if we sell it for £1, we're actually making money.
Whatever you sell it for, you're making money.
If we give it away, we're making money.
No, you're saving.
I mean, it's not nice to do that, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, if you have to do that, then it's a millstone that's not round our neck. It's less work for the clerk and everybody else. And it's done and finished, isn't it?
Could I also state as part of the resolution that we propose to look at using any monies that have already been allocated to that for potential investment into improvements in other environmental projects.
Yeah.
What do you mean by environmental projects though?
Well, it could be anything. It could be a garden. It could be a clean up of a horrible little bit of land.
I could do with a regular gardener.
What I mean is, if you give it a name, environmental project, what is this?
Well, I think you've got to leave it open because it can come along and say, someone could come along and say, I've got a project to, I don't know, redo the boating lake in Glen Gardens or something like that.
You could
Capital projects.
Yeah.
for the benefit.
Not their benefit.
Not their benefit.
Capital projects for the benefit of...
Lighting, balloon, there's the lighting,
Yeah.
Christmas lighting.
But that covers all that, doesn't it?
That would be better, capital projects, the benefit
Yeah,
the
it
people.
covers
The
everything.
further you leave it, the more it's open to people to apply if they need it in the Yeah, you put too many strings on it, and
Right. So Councillor Hatsby's proposed this. Do you want it reading out again before we have a second on
I
it?
think we're alright.
Yeah? Can we have a second on that one then, please?
Can I second?
Councillor Thurston. Can we have a vote on that, please? A show of hands on that.
Reluctantly, Chair.
Yeah,
But it's the only, you know, possible.
The only- Yes, unfortunately.
Reluctantly for me as well.
Right. So in that case then, if you can put the in on the next week's agenda about the health and safety for that, and then we know where we're coming from with that, and we can actually make a decision on that, saying, right, go on with it, can't we?
That item.
Yeah, under that item, for only that item, not anything else, because we've already made. So there's two on that list that we do know can't get through, one through health reasons, the other one has a prior appointment. I do know that.
Well, there's 4 of the 8 of, sorry, 4 of the 6 have given us, sorry, 4 of the 7 have given us replies and apologies, but there are 3 that haven't.
So, this one's mentioning at the next meeting now, and I will do. Okay, I'll just put that reminder down for us. Okay. We'll go on now then to declarations of interest. Council to receive any declarations of interest in accordance with the requirements of the Localism Act 2011 and to consider any applications for dispensations in relation to disclosable pecuniary interests or personal interests. Are there any? Well, there's only one thing on the agenda this evening, so if you do think of anything, we'll probably go on to that one. We've got public participation time before that, so if you do think of any, please say before we actually start at number 4 off. Okay? We'll move on now then to public participation time. Members of the public may now speak. You've got 15 minutes if you require it.
I won't require.
You're on your own.
I won't require 15 minutes, thank you.
You're on your own, so we're giving you leeway to speak as much as you want, up to 15 minutes.
Thank you. Right, so you all know, gentlemen, as you all know, I read through all the pre-meeting paperwork today, and also went down and had a look at the gardens to see what state they're in. I was just curious to see how you're going to and what you're going to do about the gardens with the state they seem to have got themselves in. For whatever reason, I don't know why, whether that's lack of maintenance over years or whatever, or whether this happened quite quickly over a short period. Just one thing I would like to make you aware of, this is something that was in the covenant, the paperwork that was there about that no buildings in the original deeds was that there can be nothing can be built on that land. My brother-in-law is a barrister who specialises in that, in land and what can be built. So just to make you aware that usually covenants, when they pass on through, when it's purchased by
Coast Road to Sands End, you've got the problems behind the Futurist, and you've got the problems behind the Spa. Who's paying for those? Scarborough Council hasn't helped us one iota in this. All they've done is charged us to employ their specialists to give us advice, which, in my opinion, has been next to worthless, to be honest. They've not given us one hand, one help, one bit of advice free, yet they've done all this work up at Whitby and in Scarborough for nothing. Now, that really does stick in my craw, so I don't think we can come under any criticism whatsoever if we look at this critically and say, right, we can't afford it, let's get rid of it. Well, the money we save can potentially go into firing, bloom, you name it, we can go into lots of environmental
Of course you can.
projects and people that need the money in that respect. So you lose a garden there, but you develop gardens elsewhere. You develop gardens we've already got to a better standard. You know, we're not, and as has been said right at the beginning, do locals really ever use that garden?
The garden itself.
I think the answer is very few. They may appreciate it, and they like it being there, but whether they actually take advantage and use the garden is a moot point.
It's the view at the top, isn't it, John?
And I think if you developed other areas for them, and, you know, made other areas nice, then I think that in the long term they'd appreciate it, and they'd appreciate the money we're saving. Because it's them that's paying.
Of course it is.
You know, we're having to tax it through the precept. Whichever way you look at it,
Yeah.
they're having to pay for it.
Yeah.
As we saw at the budget meeting last week, we're already committing quite a lot of money to things like dog wardens and cobbles and things like that, you know, we can only go so far.
Yeah.
So I would go option one, but first make sure it's safe. Whatever the guy says tomorrow, I think we're going to have to take his advice and do that, whatever, and then put the sign on the market.
Right, so we've had a go. Kevin, do you want to say
Yes,
anything?
one more quick point. In terms of, is there any funding, grants, European money, anything like that we could apply for to pay for those works to make it safe, so we could keep it open? Or is that just because it's such an unknown?
It's an unknown.
And such
I'm not aware of anything at this moment in time.
No, there was one that came up at YLCA on Saturday, a grant, but it was for a new build, so that is a new build.
It's just, you know, what Councillor Baxby said there, you know, where the borough getting funds from, they must be getting funds from somewhere. They can't have all this money in the bank.
Well, they aren't paying electric bill, they aren't paying.
Can I just come and answer one of Kevin's things? In the press the other day, for the last 20 years, Scarborough Council spent nothing on the Italian gardens, the South Cliff gardens, and all the memorials and shelters and everything else there is there. They've let them go to rack and ruin, and suddenly they get a £5 million Heritage Lottery grant to redevelop it. So I think the answer is to let everything fall down and get a Heritage Lottery grant, and they'll give you £5 million to rebuild it. Well, where's that come from? How the hell do they give money like that away? I do not know.
But there's you mentioned the landscapes at Whitby and things like that. That's just happened, hasn't it? Out of the blue. So where are they getting the money from to make that right?
I don't know unless they've got some kind of type of insurance.
The problem is, Kevin, the borough will not give us help on it.
No.
They will not give us officer time
It's our land.
to sort it out.
Exactly.
I'm just trying to explore every option, because my heart still wants it to keep as it is and stay as it is, but not be open to the public. But of course then there has to be a fence around it that makes people not go in, and all this thing. We have to be covered in case somebody does get in and something happens.
Exactly.
But you know, would the fence and you know, danger signage be enough? If someone got in, well, we'd put the signs up and the fence up, so you're on your own sort of thing.
That would be done properly, Kevin.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's good. That's what signage is there for, to stop you. You know, you go into any supermarket and there's a spill, it's a wet floor sign. You know, it's warning you of a danger.
Yeah.
That's what they're there for.
That's right. I mean, once anything starts happening in there, it goes into like a building site then, doesn't it? Sort of. And it'd go under health and safety under the same type of thing as that. You know. So, and they are very strict on it. They really are.
Yeah. The last thing we want to do is leave ourselves exposed to
We don't.
risk when we know that there's an issue.
No. So, I think we've been round it quite a bit, haven't we? We've kicked it here, we've kicked it there, and I think there should be a decision made now.
Yeah, I think we've got that.
We've got a proposal.
So, Councillor Haxby, do you want to come back with your...
I would propose that, in line with what the health and safety executive person says tomorrow, we make the site safe in the short term, and in the long term look at marketing the site for sale to an external agency, person, authority, however you want to word it.
So have you got that?
We'll get district value.
Right. What's the minute? You haven't got his secretary with him tonight, you
Option
see.
one.
I was lost without an
Yeah,
intent.
I know.
I know.
I mean, the thing is, keeping the site and not opening it to the public is tantamount to getting rid of it anyway.
Yeah.
You're not doing anything, you know.
No, but
All you're doing is keeping the view at the top.
you're
That's all
retaining
you're
it
doing.
as
And if we can do that, maybe put a
I think we have enough safeguards
Yeah.
that will be in place so we can stop that.
add in about a couple of months as well on that one if we do. And then read it back to us so we know what we're doing. Please.
So you have to, after 5 or 6 months when we look at it again,
You
different people.
You can do, Kevin, you can do. Whoever's on council then can actually propose that they revisit that minute, right? But before they do anything else, they have to rescind the minute. Before they even start talking about it, they have to rescind the minute, and then they can carry on. And this is what I was trying to get over to them. Like, you know. So, you don't have to pay.
No, I'm just trying to keep going on one side. Right, look, John, that we make the site safe in the short term as per the recommendation of the HSE person report. Then action the sale of the site with covenants to be added to maintain the current environment, and the sale to be considered by auction or sealed bid.
We can do a sealed bid through estate agent anyway,
Do
can't
you
we?
need to put on there that we're having we want like a retention,
Pardon?
a figure that will, I can't remember what it's called.
A reserve.
A reserve.
A reserve?
You need just
I don't know, I think if you put reserves on it,
It depends
I
on...
think that could be brought up at another meeting to be quite honest.
Yeah.
If we get sort of estate agents involved and they say, look, this is what we consider the land to be worth, we then may want to make a decision in terms of saying, right, we won't sell it unless it's this amount of money.
If you go into auction, like, you know,
You can't do a reserve.
The reserve is essentially
absolutely auction.
but at the end of the day, if we sold it for £1, which is what it's worth on the asset register, what are we losing? We're actually gaining, not spending £1,200 a year on maintenance, doing 30,000 to initially stabilise it, and any other bill that might come on in the future to stabilise it. That's what we're saving. So yeah, if we sell it for £1, we're actually making money.
Whatever you sell it for, you're making money.
If we give it away, we're making money.
No, you're saving.
I mean, it's not nice to do that, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, if you have to do that, then it's a millstone that's not round our neck. It's less work for the clerk and everybody else. And it's done and finished, isn't it?
Could I also state as part of the resolution that we propose to look at using any monies that have already been allocated to that for potential investment into improvements in other environmental projects.
Yeah.
What do you mean by environmental projects though? Because
Well, it could be anything. It could be a garden, it could be a clean up of a horrible little bit of land.
I could do with a regular gardener.
what I mean is, if you give it a name, environmental project, what is this?
Well, I think you've got to leave it open, because it could come along and say, someone could come along and say, I've got a project to, I don't know, redo the boating way in Burn Gardens or something like that.
You could put
Capital projects.
Yeah.
for the benefit.
Not their benefit.
Not their benefit.
Capital projects for the benefit of.
Like in Bloom, there's the lighting, Christmas lighting.
But that covers all that, doesn't it, that?
That would be better, capital projects, if anything.
Yeah,
the
it covers
The
everything.
further you leave it, the more it's open to people to apply if they need it in the future.
Yeah.
You know, you put too many strings on it, and
Right. So Councillor Hatsby's proposed this. Do you want it reading out again before we have a second on
I
it?
think we're alright.
Yeah? Can we have a second on that one then, please? Councillor Thurston. Can we have a vote on that, please? A show of hands on that.
Reluctantly, Chair.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
only, you know,
The
possible.
only, yes, unfortunately.
Reluctantly for me as well.
Right. So in that case then, if you can put the in on the next week's agenda about the health and safety for that, and then we know where we're coming from with that, and we can actually make a decision on that, saying, right, go on with it, can't we? Yeah, under that item, for only that item, not anything else.